phone.
There's a red box. Yep, we are recording. Welcome back to episode 18. And we are so stoked about the shirts we're wearing, we didn't even change them. Isn't it crazy?
Nope. We just hang out in the same clothes for months at a time. We smell great.
Yes. So, great show planned for today. We have some excellent musical offerings and some awesome new drink offerings. So, if you're into that kind of thing, like we are, join us. Hit the like and subscribe button, and we're going to have a great time just chatting about dumb shit, metal, and MASH. Adam, what are we drinking today?
Today, we have Bardstown. So they're a new venture-ish. 2016 is when their distillery opened up in Bardstown, Kentucky.
So we're kind of drinking everything that they're putting out, sort of, relatively over the last couple of years.
Kind of. So what's cool about them is they started off really as a collaborative blender while they were waiting for their stuff to brew.
Yeah.
So what we have today is their High Wheat or Origin Series. So their Origin Series contains 4 products. That's their distillate. Yeah. They're all 6 years old, so they've had time to grow their own shit. So this is one of the highest wheaters on the market. So your episode featured a wheater in Maker's Mark, and I wanted to focus on a wheater in mine. And I grew up growing wheat, which you heard in a couple of episodes ago, I think episode 16. So this is 53% corn, 39% wheat, which is one of the highest wheaters on the market, 8% malted barley. So in their Origin Series, they have a high wheat, a bottle and bond wheat, which I think is 24%. I'll fact check that later, but I think it's 24% wheat. They have a double barreled rye and a traditional bourbon. So that's their Origin Series. They have a Discovery Series, which is straight up blends. They've taken 6-year, 12-year, 18-year products from all over the place, and they mix it together and just make these fantastic collaborations. And then they have their Fusion and Collaboration Series where they take products and they finish them in like a rum barrel or a wine barrel.
I know we've had a couple of those.
We
They're
have.
pretty damn good.
I think I have 8 or 9 different Bardstown products at home.
That's wild.
So a buddy of mine.
It seems like your collection just keeps getting.
So my bar name is called Bottle and Bond. It's not Bottled in Bond, which is what the act was in 1897. I call it Bottle and Bond, and it made a cool frame. So my goal is to have 100 bottles of open whiskey in
Check
my
out
bar.
My dude's bar right here. It's sweet looking.
Which I'm really excited about. So today I'm at 96. I get a new bottle delivered today in the mail. It's my first hazmat bottle, which means it's over 140 proof.
Jesus. Oh my God.
And the reason it's called hazmat is technically you're not allowed to fly with it.
Yeah.
Because the potential for flammability.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I'm really excited to get that bottle today. But anyway, this old gentleman and he's a great human being. It's a story that if we have time, I'll talk about later. But he was going to Bardstown with him and his wife. And he said, "Do you want anything?" And I said, "Yes." This bottle and the Discovery 12 had just launched seriously like 2-3 days prior.
Interesting.
So he picked up a bottle of both the Wheater and Discovery 12 for myself and my brother. And I figured, what a great way to highlight this. We have 2 wheats back to back. We get to talk about my music from 2010.
Yep.
So I'm just really excited about this. I'm really excited about the tunes today. And yeah.
So the Bardstown Bourbon Company, if you don't know about Bardstown Bourbon Company, we actually visited it.
We visited their retail store.
Okay,
so they have 2 locations. They have the distillery is in Bardstown, and then they have a satellite location with a tasting room on Whiskey Row in Louisville. Yeah. So, and you gave me, when we were on that tour, not Bardstown tour, but just going on our Kentucky journey, you gave me a nice lesson in how to say Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, and I've actually seen that on signs. It would say it's not Louisville, it's not Louisville, it's Lawville. Which is so fucking dumb.
I mean, there's a lot of drawl there.
Yeah, it's just how, whatever. But anyway, let's get into some kick-ass songs. I love the sound of your list. There's a couple tracks on here that, at least one, that I'm not super familiar with. I do know and have heard of all the other bands. But let's get into this one. This is a great track, great band that I absolutely fucking love and always have, for at least for the last 25 years since they've been around. This is Lamb of God, Ghost Walking. Fuck my What a great riff, man. And the, that acousticness. It's
Yeah.
I was actually reading, well, who the fuck am I kidding? I don't read. But I do listen to audiobooks.
Fair enough.
And I was listening to Mark Morton's audiobook recently. Damn, dude, it's a really good listen.
Is it?
Yeah, if you do audiobooks, check out Mark Morton's. Man. It's really, really good. And it just kind of gives you the idea of like where he came from, which was almost super similar to like
To your
how
story?
I did, like with growing up with bands. Like you start hanging out with friends and just
Right.
playing around, and then you meet a couple other guys who are pretty good. You get with them, and yeah, it was eerily similar. Obviously, they made it on a much higher level, but
Right.
all because he went to VCU and met John Campbell and Chris Adler.
Nice.
Wild shit, man. All right, so let's check out the Bardstown
Dude, it's tasty. And I think you're going to find it's very similar. You know, it's 106 proof,
Origin Series.
so it's similar to yours, 110 proof makers.
Yep.
It's a wheat. It's a wheater. Wheats tend to be sweeter, where rye tend to be spicier.
Yeah.
And it's great for sipping. I rarely use a wheater as a mixer, but I also tend to go higher proofs. I don't make a lot of mixed drinks very often. It's usually neat, but dude, this, I think for $49.50, this is a great pour.
I agree. It tastes really, really good. So definitely check out your Bardstown. That's a great sip just to hang out with. I could totally see myself just hanging out, sipping on this, listening to some more Lamb of God. The fun thing about this record when it came out, I was a big fan of the track King Me. I think it's the last song on the record.
Yeah.
Jesus. Everything they do is fucking fantastic. The funny thing about it though is like one time they put out the record Sturm und Drang.
Yep.
And it was that and the album Wrath. I had sort of taken a step back from them for a while because that's around the time that the Swedish shit was going on in my head.
Sure.
And by the record that kind of brought me back around to them was this.
Okay. So, Lamb of God is what changed how I sought music. So I was living in Wyoming at the time, and I had slept on these guys because it was one of those situations where my best friend is an audiophile. He is a sound engineer, and he was very adamant about, like, sound quality is essential, so he had instilled in my brain that only CDs are hard manual music product. So I, at this point, had only been buying CDs and ripping them. I was not downloading music. I was not going to websites. I was strictly going based on, I want to get a CD because I know the quality of it.
that phase too, yeah, man.
So then the metal station played an abbreviated version of a Overlord from Lamb of God, and I heard it and I was like, holy shit, I've been sleeping on these guys. So, but didn't have a lot of access to going and buying a hard CD, so this band is what got me, and why my journey in the 2010s sways so vastly, because then I started downloading music, because I was like, you know what? I don't have the ability to hear what he was hearing, because some people are just better at certain senses than others.
Yeah.
Like, other than being a nurse, I'm a massage therapist. I can feel things that other people don't feel. You're a musician. You can hear things that other people don't hear. I love whiskey. I can taste things that other people can't taste. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to start downloading music because I want. Yeah. And that opened up. And Lamb of God is what put that on the map for me. Oh my God. So I ended up just going down to Lamb of God and everything. Dude, Randy Blythe, just that whole fucking band, dude.
The thing about Lamb of God, that for me, like, I feel like they sort of changed the landscape in how most bands sounded at the time. Because they were very mid-rangey with in that highs, mids, and lows factor, where for the most part, for a really long time, everything was scooped. In other words, high trebles, low mids, high bass.
Right.
So you had that nice V curve. And then, somewhere around the early 2000s, mid 2000s, Lamb of God busts on the scene, and they're almost like that kind of that curve was
The
very
opposite.
high mid-rangey.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, they like picked up on the groove where Pantera left off.
Yeah, for sure.
Is how I
Absolutely.
feel about them.
And it was
which-
it was like perfect timing.
It
too.
was, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And really, and you and I have had a conversation about who's the next baton for the stadium fillers or
Yep.
the music venue fillers. And Lamb of God for both of us has been on that list of
definitely gonna be,
who
for
picked
sure.
up, even though they're what, like 7 albums in,
Oh,
eight
probably
records
10
in.
by at this point.
I mean, and I don't see them. They don't seem to be slowing down.
Yeah,
I
I'll
mean-
fact check that. It may not be 10. I'll put the answer right here.
Thanks,
I love
Aaron, for
editing.
doing all that work beyond the mic.
All right, man. So the first time I ever heard about Infant Annihilator
It was me.
was you.
Dude, these guys fucking kill it.
So my God. All right, so it's essentially. I mean, it sounds like fucking robots. They're so
It's programmed.
They're so precise and articulate.
It's programmed, and they've never. So here's the thing: they've never done a concert ever. They won't play live because most
how you could do
most
it.
bands will tell you, most artists will tell you this. You just don't do this live unless you pull a Slipknot and decide to have multiple artists.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd have to have 2 drummers, and they'd have to have their own product.
Yeah.
You know, and you then have to meld it together. They don't play live. They've only had 3 albums. They're in the studio doing lyrics on the 4th album right now, from what I hear. And this is their, I want to say, and we'll fact check this, I think Dan Watson is the singer for this album. The other 2 albums ends up being Dickie Allen, who's got the best Goblin vocals ever. But Dan Watson was on this album, their first album, and he ended up moving on to Enterprise Earth, if I remember right. But Aaron Kutcher is the drummer, and he does a video on YouTube where he does this playthrough without lyrics, and it looks like he's playing it all. There's been people who said it's fake, whatever. But he programs a lot of it, but he's still a fucking phenomenal drummer.
Oh, no doubt.
Because he's also the drummer for a band called Black Tongue, which
is awesome.
down-tuned deathcore. So it's amazing to see the difference in the speed of both, and he is a phenomenal musician. But this song, Cunt
Yeah,
Crusher,
aptly titled "Cunt Crusher."
man,
You know what's funny is I was when I was looking this song up, an audiobook come up called "Cunt," and it was it was like a female guide to accepting the word "cunt" and making it positive. Hey, man,
I mean,
that's cool.
it's just another 4-letter word.
So here we go. The Palpable Leprosy album. The song's called "Cunt Crusher." Emphasis on the T. It's fucking shit. It's like you just boof the fucking shot of coke and just go crazy.
Yeah, no, it just, when you talk about just starting off as a basher, but the groove, there is just a grooviness to it, and in about like 2 minutes, this whole fucking song, man, I heard these guys the first time, and this introduced me to deathcore. Was one of the main bands that introduced me to deathcore. Sub-specific, technical deathcore. And these guys I fell in love with these guys right away. Now, they are a concept band to a degree. It's all satire. If you actually read their lyrics, because you're never going to understand what the fuck they say.
No, not a clue. Which is cool.
They are very anti-Catholic Church. And this talks a lot about the atrocities that they're allowed to get away with and how they objectify women and children, which I think is a pretty interesting concept. So if you do read their lyrics, which I don't recommend you do, it's a parody, it's a satire. This is not their belief system. These guys are actually really cool, just calm. I think they're British, if I remember right.
Oh, shit. That was gnarly, dude.
And then here, you start to get a little groovy.
Oh, a little snary in there.
Yeah.
What a riff.
I mean, it just fucking grooves, man. So they put this album first out as an instrumental, and then people are like, oh, well, listen to this.
Fuck.
And then this
That's
blast
so
beat.
fast.
I don't
get it. I don't know how you write it. It's amazing.
And then it just slows
The
down.
musicianship of these dudes.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
To be able to go from that shit to this, that's pretty on par with what I'm used to. Definitely.
And then here comes
harmony.
Yeah, and here comes the best groove part on this whole song. It's fucking spectacular. And then the little ting. Yeah.
That's a great sound vocal.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I probably
My
watched
goodness.
20 reaction videos to this drum playthrough.
That's like
everybody does
Nintendo
that to
shit.
this spot. Yeah, and that's exactly what people are saying. They're like, holy shit, that's like a fucking video game.
Yeah. Your guy just jumped 30 feet in the air.
But man, I mean, this opened up my world for sure. And I definitely gravitate towards real intense deathcore, technical, tech death, brutal death metal, and this is what introduced me to the Beyond Cannibal Corpse, Beyond Deicide, which was my kind of staple. So the kind of extremes, really, Lamb of God and Infinite Annihilator really took me in this branch, because I hovered in the Korn, Limp Bizkit, Seven Dust, Mudvayne world.
Well, I mean, I think anybody with a body likes to, moves a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what those kind of bands brought.
Absolutely.
They had the groove, they had the rhythm, but they also had heaviness enough to keep our attention. I was always into like you, looking for the most fucked up, heaviest shit possible.
Absolutely.
All my family around me were like,
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Even my cousin who dabbled in the metal was like, that's the shit you're getting into is way too much for me, man.
Too much. You took too much, man.
That's what he would always say. This is a little too much.
Well, that is, goddamn, Infinite Annihilator. One of my favorite bands, dude.
What a fucking jam.
So in theory, what they said that they're going to be doing is things in triplets. So the first 3 albums was very much the focus around the anti-religion, the hypocrisy, and all of that kind of stuff. What they said they were going to be doing kind of as a concept satire element was the next 3 albums, if they were going to do them, is going to have a different theme. So they're supposedly doing lyrics for the 4th album right now. So we'll see if that changes.
We shall see.
Yeah, but pretty good shit.
Till then, a band we all know and love, Slipknot.
Oh, yeah.
You picked an interesting track, man, from Point 5, The Gray Chapter, which is, I've read so much stuff about this album that the guys have said they were just in such a tumultuous time.
Right.
This record was just made, and they were all like, we don't like each other, and we're just in here because we have to, essentially.
Right. Which is kind of how that last album for Pantera went.
Yeah.
And I think it weirdly produces good music.
There's some bangers on this record for sure. So
I like
track
this
is
one
called
because
The
it was
Devil in I.
It was more one of their more popular songs.
Yep.
I liked it because it had a nice groove to it, and it's catchy. And I like catchy shit.
I always liked Slipknot for their ability to they were like the tone chasers. So every record they put out has had a different, very noticeably different sound. From guitar-wise, drum-wise. They just had different sounds each record. Mm-hmm. I always liked that about them. This is an album that it was one of those departure records for me. Like because it was all around that time that I was searching for other things. So I had to actually go back and listen to this record.
Sure. It's easy to be chasing something and then miss something.
Oh,
but,
I missed so much shit.
but at the same, but it gives you the opportunity to go back and
Yeah.
appreciate. Be like, oh shit, that came out then. I didn't
Oh, I
know
do
that.
it all the time. Man.
Yeah.
I go back and listen to bands that I knowingly love and just missed an album or two.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much shit out there that I love that you just can't catch it all. You know what I mean?
Not even close. So I look on the Spirit of Metal, which is a cool website, and it tells you what's coming out this week, and it starts alphabetically,
Yeah.
and the fucking list is just all. You're like, there's no
It's
way.
insane. There's no way to
just
keep
no
up.
way.
In fact, I didn't even know that a new Soilwork song dropped.
Right.
But I found it yesterday and listened to it.
Sure.
Kick ass, by the way.
It well gives me something to check out later.
Yep. Love Jim Root. Love Mick Thompson. They've always had a great ear for guitar sounds that kind of make me think like, could I use that sound? Could I sound good with their guitar tone? I don't know, man. They're one of those bands that I've mentioned that have a very clear sort of tone where they have low gains.
Sure. Which you've
And-
talked about. High gain is a big
Yeah.
thing for you.
I like more distortion. They obviously use a lot lower, and it's not a bad thing. Like they know how to handle it. Like their hands,
Well-
the way they fret and things are. A little
So
different.
your channel, you've never done a Slipknot cover, have you?
No, because they tune so low, man. You know, all their and I've thought about it. I've listened to a few songs I really like, and I'm like, I'd like to play this song, but when I go and I check the tunings and things like that, it's
Right.
always like A and B, and to do that with because all my guitars I use the same string gauges.
Sure,
and all of
sure.
them. And to do that, you have to have guitars that are dedicated to that tuning because you got to use thicker strings, file your nuts down. Like, it's a whole deal. So
He
that's
said,
why,
file your nuts down.
that's why I don't do it.
Well, I mean, so I have an ever-growing whiskey collection. Maybe that gives you an excuse to have that one guitar that's dedicated to something that's not your norm.
Yeah,
You do have some ceiling space that you can hang them up like a bike.
I do.
You know, and my question is, how often would Tiffany look up when she comes in here?
Oh, trust me, dude. She knows everything in here.
She's ridiculously observant, I know.
I feel like she comes in here sometimes just to see if there's something new. You know? She's cute.
The chaos there that they bring. And I've always loved Slipknot, Stone Sour. This, which is weird, I guess, probably the most mellow song out of my 2010 journey. But I just good shit, just fun, jammy song.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I dig it. I saw Slipknot a couple years ago at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival.
Yeah, Virginia,
Yeah.
which has turned into a giant shit show, I've heard.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of a shit show when I was there. But it was cool. Like, I was able to catch Slipknot like 6, maybe 7 songs. Because they were so far away from where we were. We were down on the lower stages, and they were on the other side of the mountain.
Right.
By the time we got there, most of their set was over. But we got to see a lot of really cool songs. And Jim Root was using a Flying V. I thought that was super cool. I'd never seen him do that before.
Which is kind of funny because the first thing I noticed when I walked in here this morning was
my new Flying
You
V?
have a new Flying V.
Yeah, man.
I'm
sweet.
excited to see a video with that.
There'll be some videos soon.
I love it.
I ordered some new hardware to make it pretty.
Make it pretty.
Make it super pretty, and there'll be videos soon, man. I can't wait to play it.
So that'd be a fun thing to see, a video of different walks of life's definition of pretty.
Yeah. You guys have any ideas?
Let's do it.
Leave something in the comments. We'll see what's up.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
It's a good tune, man.
Well, I mean, Slipknot just kicks ass.
They
period.
do a
I mean,
great job.
You know, and you know, there's people that hate Slipknot, and that's
Good.
fine. Good for you.
Good.
You hate Slipknot.
You can be over there and rub your clit out to fucking Taylor Swift. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I think Slipknot kicks ass.
Me too.
Another band I think kicks ass, which I've actually I've discovered this band around the same time, and if I'm not mistaken, was some of these guys from the? Is this the band that was the supergroup like amalgam of like As I Lay Dying and a couple of the others? If it's not the case, I'll put it right here. But I'm pretty sure Wage War had some of the guys from.
They may
As I Lay
have
Dying.
been as a different group for sure, and I can't remember.
There's guys in there from something else. I could be wrong on the name, but I'll put it up here.
Right.
But let's check this band out on the album Dead Weight, Wage War. The song is called Witness.
So these guys really, other than obviously Killswitch Engage, really pulled me back into the metalcore element. And again, this was after Lamb of God got me starting to pull downloads from the internet as opposed to finding hard CDs. And yeah, these guys they jam, dude.
I'm pretty sure. I know like several of the guys that were in As I Lay Dying started a new band during the hiatus of As I Lay Dying.
Yeah.
And it may have been this one. If it wasn't this one.
Which they're putting out a new album, As I Lay Dying.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
They've got 3 singles out, I think. Yeah. And Wage War just put out their new album, I think, about 2 months ago, which is pretty decent. It's good. I like this one better, but it's a good album.
Yeah, Wage War was great, man. They put out a couple records back in that time. I mean, that's
right.
pretty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Great voice. And it sounds a lot like As I Lay Dying's bass player. Because As I Lay Dying's bass player, I think, did the backing vocals on all their records.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that. Great vocals.
Yes.
Did you guys know about Wage War? It's not a huge. They're not super common.
Yeah, you know, with the clean vocals, I'm surprised they haven't drawn in more people. But you know, Scream, the harsher vocals really pushes some people away. Which, fair enough, I get it. More for me.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. You don't like drinking high proof whiskey? More for me.
Guy can sing, man.
Yeah. They aren't anywhere near the same, but for some reason they remind me a little bit of Malevolence, where you have the two vocalists.
Yeah.
You know, the guitar player has a lot more of a very belty, cleaner vocal, but the lead singer is a lot more harsh, and they've just got. Yeah, they're definitely not the same, but for some reason, there's a correlation there, and I fucking love me some Malevolence.
Yep. I agree. They're kick-ass. Just like this.
That bass, man.
It's a very prominent bass tone.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like, there's something about, you know, when bands decided to put the bass in the forefront, you know, because there was a time when you could barely hear bass. It was just there.
Yeah.
Just audible.
Well, think about the Blackened album versus the Black album.
Yeah.
Or Injustice for All. Injustice for All had almost no bass in the background. But then
how much better did the Black album sound? Because the bass, you could actually hear it. It was grinding in the background.
I would love for them to remaster Injustice.
I've heard there's actually a YouTube. You can go on YouTube and type in Injustice for Jason. And somebody went in there and recorded bass tracks exactly how Jason did it.
And boosted them.
It sounds great.
I'll bet it does.
It does, dude.
Because Injustice is a fucking great album, but I think it could have been just that much better if they would have just turned that bass up a little bit and let Jason run. And I don't know if he psychologically, did they tune it down because that was the first album without Cliff?
As word would suggest. Yeah.
I've never even bothered to look that up. I just thought of it right now. I'm thinking of it as a brilliant whiskey thought, but it's probably been talked about.
No, it's been talked about, trust me, a lot over the Metallica community, and which I've heavily involved in. The idea was that, you know, they hazed Jason a bunch, and you know, he was new to the band. They didn't really trust him.
Sure.
They just lost their best friend.
Right. Well, they never trusted him because when Newsted wanted to go out and do his own thing, they lost their fucking mind and basically kicked him out of the band. But then 4 years later, Kirk does a solo project with 4-song EP, and no one fucking even blinks an eye.
It's just one of those things, man.
Yeah.
It was a very touchy time in Metallica's life.
All right.
It produced good music. Like
No,
that and Just for All is a fucking hate-filled album. It's
It is.
full of great emotion and
Oh,
straight away.
yeah. I mean, that was their first video came from that album. One.
Well, it's funny how we can listen to other bands and get into talking about.
Well, it's easy. I mean, name a band.
When you're talking about bass, though, like bass and metal,
Right.
I mean, everybody's going to go back to the Jason Newsted thing because
Sure.
there's a stark contrast. This is what an album sounds like with no bass. This is what an album should sound like
With
bass.
bass.
At the forefront.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of, I mean, I feel like the entire genre shifted out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Bass was taken very seriously, and especially in the 2000s. After the 90s explosion in the 2000s, man, everybody, you could hear everything with the bass did.
Right.
And it's still to this day.
Uh-huh. Oh, it pulls up. Even so much so that now you're down tuning guitars to have a bass element to
Yeah,
them
exactly.
in a lot of different subgenres. For sure. Dude, this is one of my favorite things ever.
Great horror, man.
I'm glad you liked it.
Bardstown and kick-ass metal. Go check out Cunt Crusher and any other Infant Annihilator tunes. Slipknot obviously is a badass.
Absolutely.
Wage War, and of course,
Lamb of
Log.
yeah.
One of the greats of the new era.
Take care, man.
All right, check us out on episode 19. If you enjoyed what you heard, like and subscribe. Let's keep kicking some ass. It's a lot of fun to make these podcasts for you guys. We just like to shoot the shit, drink some whiskey, and listen to some metal.
That's
I hope
right.
you do too. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Peace out.